I am Dungeon Thrasher Lenny Blade, and this is the Dungeons and Thrashers show, and more specifically, it is the Adventures in Middle-earth. So this is a series that I've been doing, which covers Cubicle 7's line of books to put mechanics to the Middle-earth setting for 5e. So in the last episode, I took a look at the Rivendell region guide, which was quite massive, and this time I will take a look at the Eriador adventures, and these are the adventures that take place in Rivendell. This is episode 10, and I only have 3 more episodes after this one, because the books are running out, because Cubicle 7 lost the license, so now it's at the Free League Publishing out of the old country. So yeah, I have 3 more books, 2 more books and 1 PDF after this episode. So now this is an adventure supplement, so I'm not going to go too much into detail because I don't want to spoil anything. But there are some rules additions and some things like that, some cool maps. I will do a little bit of a flip through here, but nothing major, so don't expect any spoilers. So, anyways, let's take a look. Alright, so like I said, this is the companion piece to the Rivendell region guide, because these adventures take place in Rivendell, but also you also go to Bree-land in this sort of campaign. These are 6 adventures that are linked together to form a campaign, but of course, like always, you can play them separately. That is fine, but you also go to Bree-land, so I would actually recommend that you get the Bree-land adventures and the Rivendell region guide before you start this campaign. And one thing that I really like about this campaign is that it starts at level 5 and it goes all the way up to level 10, so it's not one of these like, oh, level 1 to 5 all adventures seem to be nowadays, so that's nice for sure. So it's cool to you can run the Bree-land adventures first, and then you can go from the Bree-land adventures into the Eriador campaign, though you may want to insert an adventure in between, since the Bree-land adventures take the characters to level 3 or level 4, and this campaign starts at level 5, so you may want to come up with something in between, but other than that, it works perfectly. And yeah, the adventures start somewhere after 2954 and warn of the return of the Witch King to Angmar in preparation for the War of the Ring, which would commence later. Now, I will try to keep this interview spoiler-free. I don't want to go into detail, but rest assured, the Company of Heroes will have the chance to venture into some really evocative places in Middle-earth lore, including Karn Doom, which is very detailed and comes with a detailed map. Rivendell, the hidden Dunedain camps, forts, towers. There's a lot here, and they will also meet characters like Bilbo, Saruman, Elrond, and there's even a chance to meet Tom Bombadil. Yeah, yes, he is a divisive character for sure, but there is a chance to meet him. And anyways, I don't mind him in Tolkien's writing, but I'm not too sure that he would work in a tabletop role-playing game campaign. So I will see. I don't think. So far I haven't introduced him to any players, but we'll see. Anyways, so interestingly enough, these are not only adventures, but there are a couple of additions in general to the system and to the rule. One is the disarming grapple, which means that if you have an opponent already grappled, you can make an opposed strength check to try to disarm that opponent. But if the opponent holds a 2-handed weapon, he will do the check with advantage, and if you are smaller, then you have disadvantage as well. So like if a hobbit tries to disarm a human, for example, he would be at disadvantage because he's 1 size smaller. There's a shell game, which is one of those like party games kind of. And then there are rules for hunting traps, which could be used in combat as well, especially for laying ambushes and things like that. So that's pretty cool. There's a magic bow. The name of the bow is the Bow of Rufus Took. And that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you're into Tolkien lore, that last name will surely ring a bell. And there are a couple of new fellowship undertakings as well. There's one called Troll Hunt, but this is an adventure-specific undertaking, so I won't discuss it in detail here. There's another one called Confer with Gandalf. And this can only be undertaken if the company is in the same place as Gandalf during the fellowship phase. And any character that spends the fellowship phase talking to Gandalf will get have to make a history or lore DC 10 check, and if they are successful, they gain two council dice, and these work the same way as the fellowship dice. So it's like a pool of dice that you can use to add to your rolls. There are also rules on how to use fireworks in battle, and this is quite interesting because before this book came out, I was playing the Wildlands campaign, and this was before this book came out, so I didn't have any mechanics to it. I actually came up with a system on how to use, so you could strap on Dalish fireworks to your arrows, and you could blind or deafen or stun, trolls and others. So I actually came up with my own mechanics for using fireworks in battle, but here they have been implemented in the rules officially. So now there is that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. There are also a couple of blurbs, that on how to play Gandalf, for example, and other important NPCs in the campaign. There's one, not chapter, one paragraph, let's call it, that's called How About Bree? And this was released before the bree-land Adventures, like I said. So it just says that if you just go to the source material, for Bree, that's all you need. So you can just go to, Lord of the Rings, and you will find anything you need about the prancing pony and Bree in general. I think that was a little bit cheap because you can say that about anything, right? You need information about Minas Tirith. You can go to the source material and get that. I think they could have included like a rudimentary map of Bree. And maybe not a map of the prancing pony, but some random tables and stuff like that. But those are available in the Bree-land Region Guide, or Bree-land Adventures, as it's called, which I have recommended before. So there's also some info on how to separate player knowledge from character knowledge. For example, there's no way the players can know that Saruman, for example, will be corrupted by the shadow. And in this timeline, there is, at this point in time, there's no way the characters could know about Bilbo's magic ring, even though both of them do make an appearance in this campaign. And I feel that these adventures take a few more liberties with the license, as opposed to just trying to stick as close to canon as possible. I'll just give one example here. I'm trying not to spoil too much, but in one of the adventures, the company is tasked with investigating a lost, forgotten company of hobbit archers that apparently took part in a battle in ancient times. And they will encounter, spectral hobbit archers and things like that. So that's, a little bit out there, but I think it's cool. It's not really Iron Crown Enterprises like MERP, Madness, Gung-Ho, Middle-earth yet, even though I do love that. But this is a nice change of pace. I do like this approach because it can get a little bit mundane sticking too close to canon and being, too afraid to experiment. So I do like that they did that.
The last thing I would like to mention is that there are blurbs in the book to guide the lore master on how to use the Eye of Mordor rules, which were introduced in the Rivendell Region Guide, if you remember. If you don't remember, you can go back and watch my review of the Rivendell Region Guide, but there are blurbs on how to use those rules and what kind of revelation episodes to link them closer to these adventures in this book. So, and like always, the Eriador Adventures is absolutely recommended to everyone. So, yeah, see ya.